Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Coming up tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, we've got two areas of interest with regards to severe weather. One is in the mid-Atlantic states, and the other one is in the plain states. And severe weather is going to be an issue for much of this week across the United States east of the Rockies. So we'll talk about that. The long range, maybe a peek at next weekend and beyond. That's tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, and that will be at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Joe Rayo's done with all his library talk, so we don't have late starts this week. So, a bit of a busy evening tonight. We've got two areas of interest with regards to severe weather. The one that's closest by is from West Virginia, Virginia into Maryland and Delaware, where we have severe thunderstorm watches that are up through this evening. An area of yellow has popped up in Texas, in central Texas, and that's a tornado watch. And there's going to be more of that tonight throughout the plain states as the severe weather risk increases. You're seeing a number of wind advisories and high wind watches that are up from New Mexico to Colorado and western Kansas and on up into Nebraska, and that's thanks to a bit of a wrapped up storm system there. And on the west side of that, we've got a peppering of winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings scattered from Colorado to Utah on up northward toward Montana. And this evening, if you take a look at the satellite loop, this has the lightning strikes going on, and you see a line of thunderstorms as of 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, moving across northern West Virginia and northern Virginia, heading to the southeast. We also have a lot of clouds spreading up into Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas, and that tornado watch is up. And by the way, if you're watching this on a replay later on this evening, obviously the satellites and radars are going to be dated, so be sure to go to weather.gov to get the latest on any severe weather that is going on. Other than that, the weather in much of the eastern part of the United States is pretty nice. We've got some clouds up in northern New England. We've got clouds out back up into the plains, and you can see the rotation that's back through Utah and western Colorado, which is the driving force for this severe weather that's going to be occurring tonight throughout the southern and central plains. And maybe even reaching as far north as the northern plains. Here's the radar as of 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can see the yellow boxes indicative of severe thunderstorm warnings that have been posted for various cells as this area moves on to the southeast. Starting to see rain breaking out across central Texas and northeastward up into Oklahoma. So this is going to be some of the severe weather we'll see later this evening. And we've got some areas of precip, showers up in the Dakotas, rain and snow, depending on elevation, in parts of Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming, and on up into Montana. WPC, the weather prediction, folks, over the next 7 days. We've been so used to getting big rainfalls on a weekly basis and sometimes twice a week. This is a rather tame looking map for the East. There's an area of a half to three quarters of an inch across Pennsylvania to New Jersey and Long Island, but either side of that, we're looking at mainly a quarter of an inch or less. There's also about a half to three quarters Southeast Virginia, coastal North and South Carolina. Bigger rainfall amounts for the Mississippi Valley and into parts of the southern and central plains, looking at areas of an inch and a half to 2.5 inches across Texas into Arkansas and northwest Louisiana. Also, in parts of southeast South Dakota, northeast Nebraska, through much of Iowa, southern Minnesota, and into western Wisconsin. Not much of happening though in the western part of the U.S. And as far as snow is concerned, we're not really seeing all that much here with respect to snowfall probabilities. They're all pretty much in the west over the next couple of days as this weather system plays out in the western U.S. So here's your low in eastern Colorado. In the east, that weak cold that well wasn't a weak cold front because we did see some storms last night in some areas particularly back across Pennsylvania. That front has settled down a little bit further south and triggering off those storms in Virginia and into northeastern North Carolina tonight. Meanwhile, to the west, you've got this deepening low in Nebraska with mountain snows and valley rains on the west side and outbreak of severe weather on the east side. Tomorrow, the severe weather risk is going to shift into the Mississippi Valley, up and down the entire scope of the Mississippi and Missouri River Valley. Meanwhile, in the Northeast, it should be another nice day of sunshine. Temperatures mainly, let's say, upper 60s and low 70s for the most part. And the low is going to move to the northeast toward the Great Lakes, reach its peak intensity during Tuesday, weaken a little bit as it moves northeastward, but it'll probably bring some rain to the northern mid-Atlantic states of southern New England later Wednesday into Wednesday night and through at least part of Thursday. We'll see some improvement on Friday. Another weak weather front looks to come through Friday night with maybe a couple of showers with that. And right now, unless we get some kind of wave developing on the front of the south, which at the moment appears like it'll pass by to our south, we should have certainly a nice Saturday and maybe some sunshine and high clouds for Sunday as the low goes out underneath us off the North Carolina coast and passes to the east. So fingers crossed that we may actually have a nice weather weekend to look forward to. And we'll talk about this more tonight, update you on everything that's going on. And that's on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time is our start time.